The report going on? All right.
Yes. And I think I gave you screen share options if you want to open it and just kind of navigate it live a little bit and maybe make some observations or whatever. But however you want to go about the meeting, I just, you have the ability.
Yeah, I would say like I'll give like a little overview of how it may work. So then you can record and like rewind and see
Yeah.
what it is. But and then we can kind of walk through the site. But I don't want to get into the weeds too much to overwhelm you. But a helpful way of thinking about developing any sort of design or website is to create, and you might even know this stuff, the idea of a persona. So like you're creating a fictional person who's going to use the site. And you may have three different types of personas. One is a new person who just moved to Tallahassee and they're just browsing websites to find churches. A second persona might be I've been here a few times and I need to like get in touch with someone on staff.
Mhm.
And maybe a third persona would be I'm a long-term member, but I need to see the updated missional communities. So those three people are going to interact completely differently with the website. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And so we're all like, it's the same like in business. You're trying to imagine who's my ideal client or my customer. How do they behave? It's like a psychological exercise to some extent.
Mhm.
So who's going to use it? How are they going to use it? And then what's like the easiest, most sort of pain-free way for them to do what they need to do, right? Which church websites are complicated because, like I said, it's a broad group of people using the same thing. So in the first instance, you want it to be instantly welcoming and descriptive to an extent that would like want to attract and engage like the person who would want to worship there or whatever. um, One of the ways to do that is just keeping social media up to date because people were to say, how is this church still around? Are they meeting? I don't know. Oh, well, they just posted like 2 days ago. They're good, or even 5 days ago. But it's like 2017. I'm not sure if this place is still here.
Yeah.
And then the second person who might just need to find staff phone numbers or emails or whatever, that lives in like kind of concise navigation tools, a menu bar, staff, or contact, or giving. I need to give, want to give to the church. How do I give? Dedicated giving tab, right? So circling back, you have a welcoming nature for the new person who just wants to feel like at home. This looks like a place where I could belong. I'm gonna check it out. The number two person might be like, I just need to get in touch with Taylor. How do I get in touch with Taylor? I went there twice, or I saw the music person, or I saw the children's person. I need to ask them a question. And then the third one would be how do our current members use the site? And in some ways, that's the easiest one to figure out because you could simply just ask them. How do you guys use this website? We want to make it better for you. Um, Here's a quick like 30-second survey, or maybe like not like an informal way, but missional communities just like informally survey their members as they're warming up, because those are probably your most committed long-term members. Does that make sense? um, and that's just like a functionality asked for it, right? So the first one, again, welcoming, that's your sort of quasi storytelling. The pictures, the descriptions, they say what we're about. The second part, which is easy navigation, that's just like, I know how to get around this website. It's not cluttered, doesn't have too much information, it's not lean where there's nothing, but I can find my way around without getting lost. And one way to do that, again, I know I'm going quick, but you can rewind. One way to do the navigation part is just to keep each thing sort of cohesive. More pages that are sort of similar but have a different, it's easy to kind of play together fairly, or not fairly, but they work well together. And then the third one, I don't really know what to tell you because I don't really know how people use it. I use my church website for giving occasionally and basically never, because I get the newsletter and I'm there on Sunday and I text the people I want to question. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And so and I feel like their information is, they as in my church, they're very rarely up to date. So like I don't go to the website to get the information. I mean, that's nothing to them. It's just who's got time to keep up with everything, right? Um, so imagining those things, personas, how do those people use the website? How can we meet those people's needs, right? That's a sort of umbrella view there. And as long as those questions are sort of playing in the back of your mind, I really don't know how you go wrong. You know what I mean? Because there's really no right way to do a website and no perfect website for anybody. So as long as you're sort of empathizing with the people who are going to use it, I feel like you're always moving in the right direction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you can hit me with any questions. I can kind of zoom in on any one thing. And then I can give you aesthetic advice too, which is pretty easy, even though you sort of spend your whole life wrapping your mind around it. There's an easy kind of way to go about it. You want me to talk about that? Or
Yeah, I think I'm totally tracking with you so far. So whatever
okay.
else I continue on.
The aesthetic thing is easy because it's like kind of like copying and cheating, which seems to come natural, right, to all 7-year-olds. But is that like find something that you like and then just emulate it. You know, there's no reason, especially for a church, to like create something new that's never been seen. So like I'm working on a photo shoot for somebody the other day, or helping them kind of art direct it, and I was like, before I ever can like tell you how we're going to do this, I need you to send me like 20 images of the thing you want done, you know. And we're not going to like exactly stage the same thing, but then we can create our vision out of these like good examples of a vision. It's really hard to come up with an original vision. It's kind of unnecessary, right? So if you can kind of look at like, these are 5 great church websites that look, I mean, like I like the color from this one, I like the font from that one, I like the way this one works, and then this one's got the pictures that I like, and we're going to just like put those together, and that will be like the marriage of our website. The only thing you run up against with that is with anything that's like a template, like what this is that sometimes the template doesn't do exactly what you want it to do, and then it's just a game of you know, you're sort of making constellations along the way to come up with the best you can do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
sitting around and trying to be creative and original is like impossible. And creative people, they don't do that anyways. It's like everyone I know who works in design has just got like folders full of stuff that they're like sort of remixing all the time.
Good to
You
know.
know what I mean? And
Yeah, I didn't know that beforehand, but
yeah, it just takes the pressure way down too, right? It's like kind of the assumption that like you got a question, someone out there has the answer, they've already figured it out. It's going to be super efficient for me to just find that and then do like my take on that, you know. And it's not like you're not like, it's not what do you call it, like plagiarism, because it's not a term paper and you're not selling anything, so it's not a trademark, you know, type deal. And how many colors or fonts are there? There are a lot, but you know what I'm saying. In general, people tend to, which colors are great because you have a church. Your church has colors. You know, you hone in on a color palette you like, keep it cohesive throughout. And then, you know, I think we all, in some sense, this might be a generalization, but like, you know, we can sort of intuit when something looks good or doesn't, or works right or doesn't, you know. And you know, one of the easiest ways to make that work is like when you do photos or logos or icons or whatever, you know, you tend to use the same size, similar format. And to the extent that you can keep that stuff organized, like in a folder on a drive, or people, you know, it will just make your life a million times easier.
okay. Yeah.
Um, so it's like, oh, I really love this super tall, narrow picture. That's probably not going to work. You should make a bookmark and like sell that in the church bookstore. You know, it's just like, it's just not going to work, you know? And the other thing, if you're kind of like, you know, getting into thinking about how this works, presumably you're doing all the design on a laptop computer or a desktop computer type thing. You know, I don't know, made up percentage, 95% of the people are going to look at it on their phone. So there's ways to like, you know, you do your design and then you can like shrink the screen down, or like there's programs you can Google and find that just shows you what it looks like on a phone, because
Mm.
it's going to look maybe a little different.
Yeah, that's
As
true.
as it scales from like a laptop to a tablet to a phone, there's like these breakpoints in code world that every time it hits like this many pixels, it shifts things. When it hits this many pixels, it shifts things, whatever. At least it did that. They may have solved that, but when I was doing this, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a
you
really
could spend all day just like tweaking everything on your laptop, and then it's like you pull it up on your phone to double check, and you're just like, ah. So always kind of, that's the thing. People are going to use their phones a lot. Unfortunately, it's just the world we live in.
I remember you guys making that point, and that's so good because I tend to look at things on my computer, but you're so right. I mean, the vast majority of people are just pulling it up on their
Unless
phone.
people work at a computer a lot,
Mhm.
but it's like I don't know, I'm kind of 50-50 or whatever, but I don't work at the computer all day.
Mhm.
But and also people, if you think about inviting, I think a lot of people might like text someone a link. Hey, come to, maybe like imagine students like, we're going to go to church at this church on Sunday, like text me the information, and they're going to use that to then pull up the address on their phone and do whatever. Maybe that's a demographic thing. It's like middle-aged people like us using a laptop, young folks using phones, and like senior citizens on iPads. I think it's probably some version. But it's all right if you know your audience. The more you can imagine, like I said, that persona, that audience. It's just that it's sort of the filter where you run it through. What are other people going to do? How are they going to use it? You're just really trying to help them find you. You're serving them. And I
Mhm.
don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely does.
If you want to pull up the website, or I guess, okay, how do I share this thing? You can tell I don't do this very often.
You just press the share button down on the bottom of the screen,
Okay.
and then click the window that you have open.
Okay. I don't know why I'm not seeing a share button, but oh, boom. Okay, the window that I have open. All right, for some reason it doesn't want to work, but let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay, it wants me to like, refresh the screen or whatever to share. So if you want to pull it up on your side,
Yeah, sure. All right.
it might be helpful if you want to like sort of move through the website and say, this feels clunky, or what could we do here? It's crazy. I remember taking this photograph.
Yep, totally. So that's one thing is we still have a lot of decent photos, but they're mostly older.
Right.
Like our, obviously our congregation has grown a lot. There's a couple of people in this photo, including your mom, that aren't a part of the church anymore. You see her over there in like the third row. But but yeah, so we could use some more pictures. You guys mentioned like a certain megapixel or like a certain like quality of photo that we needed to shoot for. What was that again?
Yeah, I don't know. I just Googled that stuff every time because I
Okay.
can't ever remember.
Okay.
Every
Yeah.
time I start a new project, I'll just like, and this is like on the Squarespace platform, so
Yeah, it's on Squarespace.
I'll just Google Squarespace image sizes, and it usually just brings you straight there.
Yeah. So this still feels um pretty okay. We took off. We used to have a an upcoming events thing down here, but we ended up taking that down when we stopped updating the events so much. But we actually want to get the calendar back up there.
Mhm.
So the homepage feels all right to me. Um, you can share your thoughts too, Sophie. Um, yeah, I think there are some pages, like let me think, like sermons, for example. Like I noticed like this image here is not a good image. It's really generic, it's not crisp. This page looks bad. um, rather than posting the most recent sermon, we ended up kind of posting links, or a previous person ended up posting like this link to get to all of our audio or all of our video, and then just put up some examples, which I think was an okay concept. But like this all cap font here, like there's something about this that just doesn't look good to me.
Like, yeah, in general, like text blocks that are all cap say, "I'm yelling at you right now." Like, uh, in a sort of general sense too. If you're familiar, don't take this the wrong way, but are you familiar with like the serif and sans serif fonts? So like a serif font is like where it says sermon highlights. It has little feet on the letters. And then the main text here is a sans serif. So it's kind of like just straight, kind of more geometric letters. In general, and it's not a rule, but in general, like headlines like sermon highlight would be like a sans serif font, and text blocks will be serifed because what we biologically or whatever, it's harder to read things that don't have little like feet or whatever, like you imagine Times New Roman or whatever has those feet. That's why books are typically written in the serif font. It just makes it easier for you to read. And so bigger text blocks tend to have that. And then, your big, bold sermons, visit, that kind of thing. It's, like I said, it's not a hard and fast rule, but in general, that's kind of like a starting point for graphic design.
Yeah, it's funny because like looking at that, I was intuitively thinking that a little bit, but I wouldn't have known like the theory behind that.
So you just know it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got an eye for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If this,
She's pretty sharp in a lot of ways.
yeah. If
Yeah.
this, becoming a surgeon or whatever doesn't work out,
That's right. Yeah, so this is our missional community page.
It's exactly that, right? You see where you have the headlines or that sans serif, and then the text block or the serif. So it's kind of like your brain's like, oh, I'm reading like a paragraph here, or I'm reading like a story.
I think this page looks the most similar from when you guys originally made it. So this one's still looking good to me. We have other kind of somewhat odd pages, like this one was made by somebody a while ago that just wanted to post like a lot more pictures, but these pictures are mostly old, and some of them aren't the greatest. And I'm not sure. I don't know what you think about it. I'm not sure like what kind of value added this is.
I feel like these kind of pictures live on like social media because, you know what I mean? Because as you sort of scroll through, like if you scroll through pictures on social media, it's telling you this is going into the past. It's like a natural way of saying that was then, this is now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? The other thing with this layout, and I'm very familiar with this layout, is frustrating because like it makes you want to click on the picture to make it bigger, but I don't think it works that way, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that one works, and maybe it cycles through, but I don't know. Look at all that.
Yeah.
Like you're having fun, man.
Yeah. Let me see here. Let me click on this one. Yeah, here again, I agree with what you're saying about the text here. This seems like screaming at people. There's this kind of like scrolling thing of pictures here. So that people, I guess, can see some more photos of what's going on in the service.
Yeah, it makes people feel like, all right, well, how should I dress? Who's going to be, like that kind of thing. It can really like be, disarming for people to feel, like, all right, I can see myself here. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Cool. How much of that you need? It's personal,
Yeah.
I would challenge myself to like on the about page right there, like vision and what we believe. And you're like, are those two different things? Like, can they live on the same page? Like, can the vision be a paragraph on top? And then we get like into the sort of theological nuances below that, like maybe not. Maybe they need to be on 2 pages. Just
Yeah.
kind of like, I'll just sort of comb through the things and say, like
Yeah.
does Mercy Team live here? Does that live in a ministry tab or a mission? I don't know what Mercy Team is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Here's another pretty generic and badly pixelated picture. Yeah. I mean, what would you say? I mean, I feel like we've the amount of tabs we have has grown, and like I do question, for example, whether or not we need this up on the page. You know,
I mean, do you have like I wonder there's like the analytics on this kind of format behind the scenes where you can see where people go and what they use the most, you know?
mhm.
Um, you may find that people, man, they're like clicking on Mercy Team like every day, but they don't go to sermons, or they go to sermons every day and no one's going to this, just to kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't have to be sort of uncalculated choices, I guess is the
yeah.
best way to say it.
But in general, you're saying we should it's probably best to simplify. Like if you
Into
don't need a vision and a what we believe page, or if Mercy Team doesn't need to be there,
That's right.
then let's take it away.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like in some ways it's, especially with the church like Incarnation, it's like once you get them there, they're going to want to stay around. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe people are like combing the depths of a website before they check it out. Think about where we go to church, it's like, they have a vision statement. It's like one sentence long and it's like on a giant poster when you go in the front door. I don't necessarily, I think I might could recite what it is, but like I saw enough to go there. And after going there, I was like, we're just going to stay here, type thing.
Mhm.
And so,
I know in my personal experience, so I've only been at Incarnation for a year, and it was during COVID, so it was slightly different circumstances. But when I found it and I was interested in it, I literally read probably every single page on the website.
oh,
But that's probably not everyone.
maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So here's a question. I'm trying to remember whether we had this in about like so we're talking about putting the calendar back up there and prioritizing, keeping that up to date, not with like decentralized stuff like missional communities, but with like, hey, we want people to know what time, like that we're going to do Ash Wednesday on 2 separate times, and we want to know that this party's coming up in this month and that we're going to have such and such thing for confirmation for kids or whatever. So I was thinking if we put the calendar back up here, we should put it up somewhere in the top, like maybe to the left of sermons or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that like you think about it as like a hierarchy, right? Where give has a box around it because that's what you want people to make sure they don't miss, right? And it also gives it a feeling that it looks like a button, so you can click on it. But
There's a button. Look at
I'm gonna say it is a button, but like it because of the box, you can tell it's a button. Like your brain
Totally.
knows to click on that. And if it was like solid background, you would absolutely know that would do it. But there's cues like that where, you know, what's most important, is home most important, is about visit. There's people just think in terms of hierarchy. In the drop down menu, the most important thing is probably going to be on top, because if people only click one or two things down, you don't want them to miss this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think simplify is good. Getting the calendar back up there, especially in a context like this, like I'd love to have people wrap their mind around the sort of church calendar in a larger sense, like
Mm-hmm.
the feast days, like, what
Yeah. When does
what
Advent
season are we
start?
in? When does
Yeah,
Advent
that's right.
start? It's just an opportunity to sort of invite people into that modality, right? That's kind
Yeah.
of one of the beauties of being in that tradition, is that we're operating in a sense that like it's not just when summer and semesters start. Semesters are important, especially in a college town, but like, hey, we're part of this sort of cosmic calendar or something.
That's right.
And so like the calendar will be an opportunity to do that. Other people like, hey, I was looking to see when the Ash Wednesday service was and the feast of whatever's coming up. What does that even mean? And it might start a conversation that could lead to something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let me share my screen, and I just have two quick questions about functions of the website, and then I don't know if you have any, Sophie, and we'll let you get back about your day, Michael. But so I just opened up the site in Squarespace.
Mm-hmm.
And two questions that I have. One is just very simply, how would I, for example, get the calendar back up there on the top bar?
Mm-hmm.
You might already know that, Sophie. But then also something we haven't been using for a while is when we have the calendar, you guys made it this way, and you did it with our MailChimp as well, to where when you publish an event, it gives you the option to automatically post it on like Facebook and Snapchat and stuff like that. And so I was wondering if maybe you could walk Sophie through that.
Yeah, just kind of going off the cuff. I haven't done this in about a year. So
Yeah.
just imagining, go to the pages,
Yeah.
and then you're going to add probably a plus up the top on the main navigation. I'm trying to think what that says. Create a new page, events. Click on the events and see what that does. I'm just curious. Down, let's see, I don't know, calendar. You just kind of, you probably just fill in whatever it says, calendar, make up something.
Okay.
I don't know if it would be under that or if it would be under this like this nested tree under Mercy Team where you'd add. No, I think that's right. We're in the right spot.
So do I just press enter or what?
Yeah, just press enter, and then it should probably. So now you have an events thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you can like going down. You kind of hover over it. You know, in the settings, I think is what you're thinking of, and the settings might give you the option to.
And I think there's something where you can use old pages we've had up are still stored.
Right.
So, but what do you want me to do here?
I'm just curious. I'm just like imagining, like, I don't know what social image does on the left. Let's see. So that's like what's going to pop up when a calendar thing gets posted. Go down to advanced, manage tags, categories. Yeah, go back to close. Let's see. Go to add an event. I'm just curious, like right in the middle, what happens when you add an event? So you're going to add an event that starts. I don't think this is going to make it look like a calendar, but it might be like an upcoming event.
So do this.
Yeah, just to type something, go to options, just kind of scroll through those options. That's going to say who's doing it. You can put an image, go to location. All right, you could put an address in. I'm curious, go to the social one. Oh yeah, you can do that. Branch Street. Some of our really close friends from here are moving to Crawfordville in like 3 weeks or a month.
Oh, wow.
But,
Yeah, tell them to visit.
yeah, I think they probably will. They're like Eastern Orthodox, but I think they might come and visit.
So
Well,
if I press save and publish,
or go to the social first, real quick. Okay,
okay.
social.
I'm on social.
Go to the share tab. Sorry.
Okay.
And then you can select the accounts that you would like to update. So you could add new accounts on here. You know, like your Facebook account, probably.
Yeah, you see that, Sophie. So when we publish an event, you can sort of add, if you want to do it on Snapchat or Facebook or whatever. Yeah, cool.
And then yeah, you can just delete it because you're not really going to do this, but then you would save and publish it.
Yeah.
And then what I would do before you would confirm that, and then go back out to that main page. Yeah, you're right. And then go to the calendar page you made. I would just delete it so it's not up there until you want it to be.
Okay.
And you can you should be able to like drag that thing. There's an old page right there.
Yeah. How do I resurrect that guy?
There you go.
There,
I don't know.
there it is. Yeah.
sometimes they might have been created in like an old version of the template that might not have been like renewed. So I would just like I would run a test or something, before I just went whole hog and like populated the calendar.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, well, I'll send my friends over there. She's like she has an Anglican background and he's Catholic, and they're sort of trying to meet in the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Cool. Are there any other questions you have, Sophie? I feel like that sort of answers how to
Yeah.
put new things up there and how to publish and stuff.
There are two questions, brief questions. First of all, thank you. Everything you've said has been really helpful. So the one is, when I am working on the website, can a person who's going on the website see those? Like, how is that working?
usually there's like at the end you can like, I don't know what the phrase, publish changes or something,
Yeah,
Okay.
or save.
or save, and in general, until you publish the edit, it if you're going to do a mega big giant change, I think you could like duplicate a page like on that left hand thing and like have it kind of hidden, and then
Okay.
swap it with the old one
Okay.
whenever you want to make it live. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
Yeah.
um, I feel like in general, programs like Squarespace are always trying to like, yeah, it's sort of like you're always pushing up against whatever their limitations are, and that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It just is.
Mhm.
So I'm like always constantly trying to figure out, like Googling questions I run into, because like what may have been true 2 years ago might not be true anymore.
Mhm.
Um, it's like their business model to just frustrate you or something. But so
Okay.
like you can tell that that page isn't shown right because it's sort of not bolded in the menu. It's kind of gray looking, so people must not see it. But yeah, enable page. There you go. That
Okay.
once you do that, then people will be able to see it most
Mm.
likely.
All right, let me see what happens when I save.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. And then I can do this and
Yeah.
even change the order and whatever. Yeah. I've noticed that like as soon as you save it, Sophie, it kind of goes up there immediately, save or publish or whatever, like he said.
Okay. Gotcha.
Um,
Oh,
Go ahead. I can pull it back up if you want.
oh no. The last question, I was just wondering your opinion on, as far as design is currently, it's like, it seems like it's more of a, I don't know if monochromic is the right word, but it's just like very like black and white. From your design standpoint, do you think like that's fine and like not to really add in additional colors and stuff?
I would say, like, I'll send you a website of one of our old churches, and I feel like it's does a good job of being simple but not white, type thing. And where the background, like the background of all the pages is all the same, but it's kind of like a tan color.
Okay.
And their fonts are like green, kind of like that ordinary time green color, like the liturgical season and that kind of thing. I think they do a good job of making it feel
Yeah.
warm without feeling like institutional or just kind of like bland. I hear you.
I would love to see that example for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just text it to that group or that
Sounds great.
message that came through. What was I gonna say?
We used
Yeah,
to.
man, I gotta come down there and visit, see what's going on.
Yeah,
Uh,
oh man, there's so much going on. The church grew more in 2021 than any year prior to that, which is
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, one of the things we used to have up here too, I remember, because of your point, Michael, about like somebody kind of like, like Googling it, and just like wanting to know where it is. I think up here, like right here where this says live stream, we said like Sundays at 10 a.m. and had like 1609 branch. Like, because even though it's on the bottom here,
Right.
we wanted it to be like, it might have even been above this, we wanted it to be like the most obvious, like check the box thing that people could want to know. What time's the service and where's it at?
In general, do you have most of the people, are they coming from all over Tallahassee, or are they kind of still kind of in the central midtown kind of zone, or
More in central Midtown.
Okay.
Including quite a bit from Levy Park there, but yeah, from all around.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
You had a lot of people move in down there, like moving down the town, or it's kind of a general.
Yeah, that neighborhood, that Levy Park neighborhood continues to have kind of seems like it's like the houses get gobbled up right away. A
Yeah.
lot of people interested in the university, and it's good for us because it's kind of like it's educated, but it's multi-ethnic, and there's people who care about gardening, and there's artsy people, and it's kind of
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice. Yeah, I'm jealous of probably you guys got some warm weather down there. It's been
Yeah.
like the coldest winter ever up here.
Where are you right now?
In Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, you live in Asheville?
Mhm.